Didn't Coulter miss the last?
Yes. And we are going to go live on Facebook.
And Hannah, you're welcome to stay after we talk to you for a little bit, and we'll have some like fun icebreaker questions if you wanted to answer them. Usually it's Hunter and Coulter, but you could pretend to be Coulter today.
Awesome. Well, I have this whole hour blocked out, so I'm happy to do whatever.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome.
Nice.
All right. So we are live. Welcome back to the Cowboy Conversation with Swilling and Anderson. This is a bi-weekly town hall to provide students with information about ASUW and general communications from the ASUW president and sometimes the vice president.
It's also a place for student feedback and concerns to be directly questioned to President Swilling and Vice President Anderson.
Now we're going to take a quick look at our agenda for this meeting. Hazel, would you like to go through that?
Yeah, sure. So we do have a special guest today, Hannah Rhymes. Thank you so much for joining us. And she's going to be talking a little bit about the School of Computing. We're also going to be talking about the university restructuring with President Swilling. And then we will be doing a Senate update, talking about some upcoming events as we always do, and then open forum, which will have some students ask some questions. And if you have any questions for us, either on Facebook Live or on Zoom or something like that, you can ask those then too.
Yeah, of course. So moving on, we're going to introduce Senator Hannah Rhymes and the School of Computing. So do you want to give a little spiel, I guess, Hannah, about that?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you all so much for having me here today. I really appreciate it. As you all said, my name is Hannah Rhymes. I'm a senator for the College of Arts and Sciences. I'm finishing my last year and getting a degree in physiology with honors in neuroscience minors. So getting ready to wrap up my journey here. I've been involved with ACW for my entire time here at UW through a number of capacities. I was lucky to be involved with the Non-Traditional Student Council in my first year and helped reestablish it. I worked for the Aztec program for 2 years as a senior technician and booking coordinator. I served as chief of staff last year in the executive branch, which is where Hazel currently serves. And of course, right now, I have the pleasure of serving as a senator for the College of Arts and Sciences. And I also have the pleasure of chairing the Advocacy, Diversity, and Policy Committee. So I've greatly enjoyed all of the roles I've had within ACW, but what I love about being a senator is getting to dive into issues like the School of Computing and really getting knee deep into those university-wide issues that students really care about and where they really need their voice amplified.
Wonderful. Okay, so a little more specific questions about the School of Computing. I guess the first question is just, what is the proposed idea for the School of Computing?
For sure. So the big idea behind the School of Computing just comes out of the observation that digital literacy is becoming more and more critical in the job market. And over the next decade, there's going to be an increased demand for employees who are not just strictly educated in computer science and coding, but for employees who have a very interdisciplinary background, who are cross-trained in other disciplines, and that have other competencies that they can transfer to a wide variety of industries. So this interdisciplinary theme is what kind of drove the proposal for the School of Computing. And this school, as it currently stands, the proposal would offer a BS and a BA in computing, which differ in their disciplinary concentrations. So if you're more interested in how computing ties in with agriculture and science, statistics and engineering, then you would go with the Bachelor of Science. And then the BA is for folks that want to use interdisciplinary skills in education, arts, social sciences, and humanities. And this School of Computing would also offer minors and stackable certificates for those students who don't want an entire computing degree, but they do want to diversify their skill set and just broaden what kind of skills they bring to the job market.
Yeah. So you kind of like mentioned it a little bit on it, but where does like this idea kind of come from? I know you've mentioned the digital literacy, but where was the idea proposed from? And is there kind of like other places doing it?
For sure. So this plan has kind of come from, it really originated when President Seidel made his start here at UW. And so at every presentation or meeting regarding this proposed school, President Seidel and Provost Carmen have emphasized the recent surge in local universities, such as Boise State, who have recently established or have revamped and expanded their computing departments. And they're seeing a really huge surge in enrollment and in retention. Those students that are graduating from those programs are staying within those states and bringing new skills to the job markets within those states. And so the UW administration sees this as a great tool to not only give students a skill set that will serve them in the future and prepare them for a changing job market, but that will also strengthen Wyoming's economy and produce like more trained employees that can contribute new and diverse skills to our state.
Great. And so has there been any outreach to students to see what they think about this? And if so, what is the attitude towards this proposed idea?
Great question. You know, ACW did publish an all students issues survey back in late September, and that ran, I believe, from September 24th through October 1st. And as of October 1st, we did have quite a few respondents regarding their input on the School of Computing. On October 1st, 43% of our respondents stated that they didn't know enough about the School of Computing to voice either support or dissent of the plan. 35% of those respondents said probably yes, and another 12% said definitely yes, and another 10% said probably or definitely not. So that was a concern for us when we got those survey results back in early October and saw that nearly half of our student base, or at least nearly half of the respondents to that survey, were not familiar enough with the plan to determine if it was something they would support. So that has been an ongoing concern. And we do believe the administration is working on addressing that.
What issues have been brought up, if any, by students or even the faculty and staff here at the university?
For sure. You know, with a proposal as ambitious as this, it's always going to invite plenty of robust feedback. And I do think that the feedback and concerns that have been brought up are very valid. One of the concerns, as I already mentioned, was just a lack of communication and transparency. And that's where a lot of students have been concerned that they don't really know anything about the School of Computing and why is it necessary? Why do you need a computing school when we have a computer science department? So that lack of communication has been troubling to students. Another concern is the cost and just the on paper, what it would look like to start up a new school with the administrative personnel along with faculty. There's also concerns about the structural reorganization and whether a school is really necessary or if this could be really housed under the College of Engineering, for instance. And of course, as you probably already guessed, there are huge concerns that we are downsizing the university right now and also proposing an upsize at the same time. So that's something that many folks have expressed their concerns over and expressed that we need to weather the storm of budget cuts right now and then deal with upsizing later.
Yeah, it's good you brought that up. I know that another topic we're going to talk about today is the restructuring. So I'm sure we can touch on that a little bit more with Hunter in a bit. So I know this is actually a question that was asked at a Senate meeting the other day when we had President Seidel come and speak with us. But if there is a hiccup in the plan at all, is there a contingency plan in place?
That's a great question. You know, I think we're actually witnessing that right now, where when ACW passed that Senate resolution stating that we supported the vision of the School of Computing, but we were uncomfortable with supporting the plan as it currently stood. The UW administrators listened to us and invited us to meetings almost immediately, offered to meet with us for lunch to discuss what our concerns were and what our constituents had raised concerns over. And so I see this as a contingency plan taking place right now, that they are seeing that there are some weaknesses in the plan and they're actively working to fix those. So I think that's really encouraging. I know that an updated plan will probably be released soon, but I think that was really encouraging for us to see that they recognized that more input was needed and they were willing to adapt on the fly.
I know you've kind of said that the plan's not finalized, and you just mentioned that there was going to be an updated plan probably released here in the near future. Do you know of any kind of timeline that they've announced for the School of Computing?
That's a great question. I'm not sure what the timeline is right now, and perhaps Hunter can shed a little bit more light on that As far as I'm aware, they are hoping to present a recommendation to the Board of Trustees in early to mid-January. However, I'm sure that Hunter will correct me if I'm wrong on that. So they did bump their timeline back just a little bit because they were originally going to move faster than that. And then within the last week, they've decided to push that back to January. But again, if Hunter has more information on that, I'm sure that he can give more accurate and up-to-date info.
Kind of got it basically spot on. They're planning on approving the final notice that the school would be created in the January Board of Trustees meeting, which runs from the 17th to the 19th, or the 13th to the 15th, apologies, of January. So sometime within those 3 days, it will be voted on. They have already sent out the notice of intent, and it was approved at the last board meeting in September. And they have also already done the request for authorization, which is what the board will now be voting on in January. And if that's approved, then they will create the school or create the new school. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And then Senator Rimes, I hope you don't mind us asking, but would you mind sharing your general thoughts on the school at all?
Yes, of course. I think that most of my thoughts I've already, candidly shared just through expressing what other students have been concerned about. I do share some of those concerns. I think I can speak for many of us when I say that the vision is absolutely necessary. And I applaud President Seidel and the other administrators for being, future oriented and looking ahead to the future and not just looking around at the here and now, but thinking about what students are going to need in the next decade or next 2 decades. So I wholly applaud them for that. I think where my concerns come in as a student is just issues with communication and transparency and seeming inconsistencies about, downsizing and upsizing at the same time. I know that during our last Senate meeting, I raised many concerns about the structural reorganization and just was looking for more feedback on that. However, I am really looking forward to seeing how the administration will respond to our concerns. I think that's where we're going to see a lot of the substantial changes. And I think that's where we can really judge what the content of this plan is seeing how do administrators respond when we voice that we're concerned or confused about something. And I think that we're getting a really good response so far, and I look forward to seeing what else they give us.
Awesome. And then is there just kind of anything else you wanted to mention about the School of Computing for anyone watching or listening?
I'm not sure if there's anything else. I mean, we're aware of some of the proposed changes being made to the plan, but I'm not sure that that's public knowledge yet. But I look forward to the updated plan being released. All I would say is that if you are a student who cares about these structural changes that happen at this university and you just want to express your voice, please email us or drop a comment on this Facebook post, whatever you need to do. Like, it is valuable to us to hear from students. Even if you think that your voice doesn't matter, we think it does. And so it matters to us to hear from all students about how they feel about these restructuring changes, because that helps us accurately represent student needs to the administration. So that's just all I would add.
Wonderful. Yeah, and just to reiterate that, if there are any students watching this, especially on Facebook Live, please feel free to drop any comments you have about the School of Computing or any questions that you have for Senator Rimes or President Swilling, and we can read those during open forum. So yeah, and thank you so much, Hannah, for joining us. And You're welcome to stay on and answer any other questions we have about restructuring or just the sort of fun get to know you part of this that we have.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you, Hannah.
Great. Well, we will move on to the university restructuring. I guess the first question that we have is sort of general, but why are there budget cuts happening, if you don't mind, President Swilling?
Of course. So the primary reason that the budget cuts are happening is due to the economic impacts of COVID-19 and related other events that have occurred that have detrimentally impacted the state of Wyoming. And because the University of Wyoming is a public university, most of our money, about 50%, is derived from what's called the block grant, which is basically a large chunk of money that the state of Wyoming, the legislature, gives the University of Wyoming each and every biennium, every 2 years. And that is being cut by about $13.6 million. So we have to make a budget cut because the state has less money.
So with these budget cuts to the university, what is the main impact that or main way that the university is cutting their budget? Like what is
Yeah,
this leading to, I guess, is the
great question. There are three ways that they're really trying to manage this. One, they're raising revenue in other ways. So there will probably be some fee increases. We're hearing those right now. We don't exactly know how or which ones will be approved yet, but there probably almost certainly will be some fee increases, which sucks. And ASUW is making sure that only the ones that are really, really important for students are getting through, but some will be enacted. They're also like raising the price of parking, which again is absolutely terrible. And I have told them that that's very unpopular, but they're doing it anyway. So what can you do? Two, they did a 3% budget cut to every single department on campus. This is all academic units, all non-academic units. So that will be a significant way in which they save money. And three, they're also managing some interdepartmental budget cuts by combining departments or reorganizing things, although less so now.
Great. And so then going off of that last point of sort of reorganizing and restructuring, can you just explain the restructuring of the colleges and schools?
Yeah, of course. So basically the plan was to take the life sciences programs that are currently in the College of Arts and Sciences. This would be the botany program, the biology program, just the general biology program, the life sciences program, the physiology program, and the zoology program. Take those five and put them in the College of Agriculture. It would join molecular and microbiology in the College of Agriculture, and they would rename the College of Agriculture and Natural Resources to the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences. The physical sciences would also leave arts and sciences. They would take math, physics, chemistry, etc. from arts and sciences and put it in engineering, which is now College of Engineering and Physical Sciences, apologies. So the College of Arts and Sciences would then be renamed the College of Liberal Arts or the College of Social Science, Humanities, and the Arts. They hadn't decided on a name yet. However, this means, that there would be three different colleges from what there are now. The College of Arts and Sciences would be a lot smaller, etc.
And you kind of mentioned how it's sort of happening right now. Can you just kind of like elaborate on that a little more?
Yeah, absolutely. So initially, this was going to take effect very soon. They were going to vote on it at the November board meeting, so in just about a week or two. And then they were going to make the changes July 1st, which is the first day of the new fiscal year. However, they have decided to wait a year, meaning that they will probably vote on it only in like July or November of next year. And then they will actually take effect July 1st of 2024. Or 2023, apologies. So quite a ways away, actually. If we look at it that way, it would not take effect for another, let's see, 4, 2, 9, 21 months.
Okay. And how impactful will this restructure be for the students?
I mean, kind of impactful. It depends on how you look at it, and it depends on how it goes. It's hard to say how impactful something will be when it hasn't happened yet. But the primary impacts would be that the colleges would all be similar size, as opposed to right now where the arts and sciences is huge in comparison to the other colleges. There's also potential impacts on class sizes. They might get a little bit more even. That was one of the stated rationales. For example, the College of Arts and Sciences might offer relatively smaller classes because they have fewer students and the classes might be more even, but no one knows exactly how it would work.
Just kind of a follow-up question with that. Do you know specifically for students that are currently at the university, for example, I'm in the College of Arts and Sciences, will that change my own degree path at all, especially for students that are maybe freshmen and will be here for the next 3 or 4 years?
Yeah, so two distinct things. One, they can't change your degree path. It's actually legal under federal law. When you enter your degree path, you basically sign a contract with the university saying that as long as you were in good standing, complete these classes that they outline at the time that you enroll, you will get a degree in that subject, guaranteed by federal law. So they can't change your degree path. They would change the college that you graduate from. For example, instead of graduating from the College of Arts and Sciences with a physiology degree, Hannah would graduate from the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences with a physiology degree. In theory, Hannah will graduate from the College of Arts and Sciences because she will graduate before these changes take effect. But
okay, awesome. Oh, and then a little more specific question. Do you know, will the restructuring impact ASUW at all?
it will have some impact on ASUW, most notably our senatorial model, and we are working on addressing those.
Perfect. And then Hunter or President Swilling, do you have any other general comments about the restructure, or even Senator Rhymes? Do you have any comments as well?
I would say that the restructure has the potential to alter the University of Wyoming. And I know that the university is now taking another year to really engage deeply with stakeholders, including students. Students are an integral part of the stakeholder process. So if you want to get involved in this, please let us know. There's always room for your feedback to be taken into consideration, especially because we now have a lot of time to look at it.
Yeah. And once again, same with the School of Computing. If students are watching and you have either just comments about this or questions for President Swilling, please feel free to drop them in the Facebook Live comment section.
And I would just add to that that I think that both students and faculty are kind of breathing a sigh of relief when they hear that the restructuring has been pushed back by a year. That's been another big concern that has been cited, is that the restructuring was pulled together rather quickly and was getting pushed through really quickly. And so I think that this 1 year grace period really gives us an excellent opportunity to assess what we want as students, what we want to see in the university while we're here and after we leave, and what legacy we're going to leave behind for future students. So I think that this 1 year period that is unexpected, but really necessary. I think that this is a great period for students to really raise their voice and their concerns about how they really feel about the restructuring, other options that can be pursued, and just make sure that we go about this in an intentional manner that values shared governance and hearing all parties regarding what the consequences could be.
And Senator Rhymes, you mentioned students expressing their concerns. What would you say is the best or easiest way for a student to do that if they do have comments about the restructuring?
Excellent question. You know, if you know somebody who is involved in ACW, if you have a roommate who is a senator, or you have a classmate who is on the executive branch, you can always reach out to them and just ask if they can pass your concern along, and they'll be able to hook you up with the correct avenue. But if you're just looking to reach out, I would recommend just email our ASUW.gov account. It's just ASUWGOV@uyo.edu. That's just our general office account, and then your email will be forwarded to the appropriate person based on what your concern is. So it's just really easy to reach out. You can also follow us on Instagram or Facebook and send messages or drop comments there. Any way that you prefer to reach out to us, we're happy to meet you there.
Wonderful. All right. Yeah, well, so we'll move on to sort of break, just do some get to know you. Since we don't have Vice President Anderson with us today, I don't know if Hannah, you want to join us for this fun part.
Oh, I could be vice president for a day.
There you go. Yeah, so we're just gonna ask you some kind of silly questions, but the first one is, what did you two do for Halloween?
Hunter, would you like to go first?
I went to a friend's house.
Fun, very fun.
Wow, so exciting, Hunter.
There was alcohol.
That was thrilling.
I'm 21. It's all legal.
I went to a party and then quickly realized that I am 26 and like to go to bed at 10 p.m. So I had fun and was social, and then quickly went home and recharged my introvert side.
It was a Sunday, so that's understandable.
That is true. The really unfortunate timing for Halloween.
I don't know, Casey, what did you do for Halloween?
I was also with Hunter, so
Nice.
we went out. What did you do, Hazel?
I actually went trick-or-treating, and yes, I am 20, but I also can pull off looking like a 12-year-old, and I got a bunch of free candy and have been passing it out to all my friends, so that was pretty fun.
Shout out to Hazel for the free candy.
What?
enjoyed it.
Well, now we have to know, what is your favorite candy? Like, what was the real prize?
Mine? Okay, there were a few houses, like a good portion of houses that were giving out full-size candy bars, like the kinds that are a couple bucks each. And so I think I have a collection of maybe 4 or 5 of those. So like chocolate bars, there's a whole like Baby Ruth and stuff. Yeah, it's really fun.
You lucked out.
I know, right?
All right. The next question is, when is it appropriate to begin playing Christmas music?
Not now.
Thanksgiving. Only after Thanksgiving, probably December 1st.
Well, I would disagree, but
I would say conservatively December 1st. I would also accept after Thanksgiving. My wonderful fiance unfortunately believes that November 1st is the appropriate time to play Christmas music, and it's just that's frankly incorrect, and I will stand my ground on that.
well, see, I don't even really celebrate Christmas because I'm Jewish and I celebrate Hanukkah, and Hanukkah always falls on a different day. Like I think that the first day of Hanukkah is like the 28th of this month or something. So I would say, because there's not really good Hanukkah music and I listen to Christmas music, like the month of November is when you start. So
Gotcha. Then you get a pass.
You're the exception.
I'm the exception. Just because Hanukkah is so early. All
I
right.
would firmly say that the earliest acceptable date is November 26th. And the optimal acceptable date is December 1st.
Mm.
And
I'm
after
siding with
January-
Hunter on
Small
that.
window right there.
And the last possible day is January 2nd.
January 2nd.
Mm.
No, I think that Christmas music must stop on December 26th. All the holly jolly is done.
I will accept a New Year's extension.
Like, fitting in the 12 days of Christmas.
All right, moving on. What is your favorite season?
Summer. Summer is the best season, at least in Wyoming. Not everywhere, but in Wyoming, summer is the best season.
I have to say that I really, really enjoy the 4 hours of autumn that we get in Laramie. It is wonderful while it's here, and then it's just immediately gone.
I feel like we actually got a really decent autumn. At least this year on campus, it was really nice.
This year was unseasonably long, but you know, I'm glad that my last year on campus, I got to enjoy the nice autumn foliage for a little bit longer.
How about you,
By far, my favorite time of year is spring, summer, like late spring and early summer. June is my favorite month.
Mm.
June is the hottest month.
June is not the hottest month. July.
That is true. July is the hottest month.
June is 3rd.
Well, I was also going to agree with Hannah and say I really enjoyed the week of autumn we have, but yeah, it was a little longer this year, which was very nice.
Mhm.
What about you, Hazel?
Spring for sure. I love spring. I wish we had a longer spring as well, just like as fall. Spring, I'm a spring baby. My birthday's in spring, so I like that.
No one said winter.
Nope.
Very
Yet we all
obviously
live
why.
here.
Not
Would have
Laramie.
said winter.
I
if you
don't mind
lived
winter. It's nice. It's just very long.
here. It's 6 months long.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, very controversial question coming up.
Ooh.
Pineapple on pizza, yay or nay?
Yes.
Of course.
What?
Of course.
No. Okay, where's Coulter? Because I know Coulter and I bond over the pineapple and pizza's gross. I don't-
I am Coulter today.
The delicious acidity pairs so well with the tanginess of the marinara.
See, I like pineapple and I like pizza, but the pineapple is like wet. Like you don't put wet things on pizza, then it's like there's juice on the pizza.
But
Tomatoes are way wetter than pineapple.
I
That's not
must
like
agree
fruit.
that tomatoes are so much more aqueous than pineapple.
Again, very controversial.
I've been in organic chemistry for too long. I need to stop saying aqueous.
How long have you been at the library, Hannah?
I don't have to respond to that question.
Okay, final question. This is sort of fall themed, so Hannah, you will enjoy this. So what is your favorite pumpkin flavored food or drink?
Hunter, I would love to hear from you.
I don't like pumpkin flavoring.
Really?
Not
Oh.
It's
anything?
fine. I would say I had a really good pumpkin cheesecake. I had a pumpkin milkshake from Freddy's that was pretty good.
Mm.
I used to admonish the pumpkin spice lattes from Starbucks, and I'm still not a fan of lattes. However, I will treat myself to a pumpkin spice frap every now and again.
I really want to like pumpkin spice drinks, but they are just so sweet. They hurt my stomach. And I like sweet drinks, but it's like a bit much.
Agreed. I think pumpkin spice must be treated very seasonably, and I'm glad that it is. It's not a year-round thing.
Mm-hmm. I know. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Hannah.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think the best pumpkin spice product is when you when you make pumpkin bread at home and you add all the good spices, you add your cardamom and everything. So it's not like aggressively sweet. It's got like that little bit of spice to it, but it just fulfills that need for a little pumpkin stuff in your life.
Mm. There was a slice event where everybody brought different pumpkin slice or pumpkin spice. Wow, words.
What is the name of the event? It's pumpkin slice.
That's why I remember. Yeah. Pumpkin slice. Yeah, it was like a potluck and everybody brought different pumpkin spice flavored things, and somebody made some pumpkin like noodles, pumpkin spaghetti, and it was the most delicious thing.
Really? I would have to give it a try.
Very good.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay.
Anyway, one year somebody brought pumpkin spice scented toilet paper.
Oh.
And that just, there's too many questions associated with that.
Maybe it was a good use of it for napkins.
Yeah, sure. Toilet paper is napkins.
We'll say that.
That's what it was used for.
On the record.
A good pumpkin spice to waft up that horrible bathroom aroma.
Moving on.
The poo spray. What is that called?
I think it's poopery.
Google poo spray real quick. It's poopery. Hannah's completely correct.
Okay.
Not sure where this conversation is going.
So moving on, we're going to move on to the Senate update. And since we do not have Vice President Anderson, Hazel and myself will be giving the Senate update this week.
We will. Okay. I didn't know that.
We will be having the actual senator do it. We'll skip that.
Would you like to give the Senate update about the listed things on the screen?
Yes, I can, just off the top of my head. If I misstate anything, I hope that Hunter will call me out. As far as the School of Computing resolution, I mentioned that earlier in my report. This was a resolution that the ACW Ad Hoc Restructuring Committee put together after reviewing all of the documents that were associated with the School of Computing. We went over the preliminary plan, the request for authorization, and we were in a couple of other documents in budgets. And so we went over all of these plans and we compiled what students were concerned about and what our constituents were saying. And so we authored this resolution that essentially stated that we appreciate and support the vision of the School of Computing, but we had multiple concerns that needed to be addressed before we could offer our support. And so we did pass that resolution unanimously. There was really good debate on the floor. It was really good to see people vocalizing and being engaged in such an important piece of legislation. So that did pass unanimously. And that was on the same night that President Ed Seidel came. It was our special event. He was kind enough to drive all the way back from Torrington after a long day of meetings and interviews up there, and he was able to come back and fit in a special event with us. So we were very grateful for his time. And he took almost a full hour of questions regarding the university restructuring and the School of Computing. More particularly the School of Computing, just because that was what we were voting on that night. But it was really helpful to be able to have him there to directly answer our questions prior to taking that resolution to a vote. And then as far as the articles of impeachment, not a fun part of Senate. It's not really something that you look forward to or want to do. Thankfully, we were able to avoid that. And no articles of impeachment need to be drawn up. The parties in question have resigned. But that does mean that we do have a vacancy, I believe in, oh goodness, I can't remember which college it is. I think it's Ag.
It's the College of Agriculture and Natural Sciences.
Thank you so much.
In arts and sciences and health sciences as well.
That is correct. We do have one vacancy in health sciences, arts and sciences, and then agriculture and natural resources. So if you are a student who is currently in that college and you want to get more involved with what's happening on campus, you don't have to have student government experience. This is a place where we're all coming together to learn and meet each other with different experiences and backgrounds. And if you're somebody that cares about students and you want to make a difference and just use your voice to voice student concerns, we would love to hear from you. So please contact one of us to submit an application if you're in one of those colleges and would like to fill a vacancy. And then the restructuring of ASUW, I think that Hunter can speak more eloquently to that.
Yep, so ASUW is looking at restructuring. We're no longer pressured by the time constraint of the university's restructuring, but we're still taking this as an opportunity to really thoroughly evaluate how we can best serve students. And we think that we will proceed with some of the work that we have been doing this year to restructure ASUW. Most notably, we're looking at paying senators because we want to get senators very deeply involved, and paying them would allow, first, more students to join. It erases inequities that exist where currently only students who really are socioeconomically stable can join Senate and not be impacted negatively by the time commitment, because other students might have to work in order to get money to pay for living. You know, you have to have money to live in this country and in all countries.
Imagine that.
I know.
Crazy.
And then also to allow senators to be more involved in our processes and to really invest the time that we want from them and to pay them to pay them equitably for the work that they do. So we're looking at making an at-large model for Senate to make sure that we can consistently get 20 students. And because we believe firmly that students are much more united by general issues that affect all of us than by college-specific issues. And then second, also because we're looking at paying senators and perhaps shrinking the scope or the size of Senate to make a more efficient, better suited government to represent students without like administrative bloat or anything like that.
Perfect. Coulter did just want to address also that next week, the ASUW, I believe, bill of defining general elections will be up to vote next week at Senate. But yeah.
Great. Okay.
It will be up to vote.
Okay, so we're going to just move on to some events going on campus. It's always fun to learn about things that students can attend. So the first one is called a Ripe Frenzy. It's at the UW Art Museum on November 4th at 6 p.m. It is a play that dismantles the notions of American life as we like it and replaces it with what we are living among right now, the awful possibility of more tragedy. So yeah, that's a play that you can go watch. I actually have some friends in it, so it's going to be super fun.
Yeah, and the next one is not really an event, but I felt like it was an important date to throw on here. The withdrawal from classes, individual semester-long classes, is tomorrow, Friday, November 5th. So if you do need to withdraw from any classes, the deadline is tomorrow.
That is good to know. Okay, and then on November 9th, there will be a documentary viewing of a documentary called Ice on Fire. It's from 7 to 9 p.m. in the Union Center Ballroom, so here in the Union. And it's a documentary about climate change and our rapidly warming planet.
And on Monday, November 15th at 6 p.m., there will be an event called Own It, which is celebrating the amazing Wyoming women in STEM, along with some snacks. So you can also go and nominate graduate and undergraduate students, STEM professionals, faculty, and community members in several different categories to win awards that recognize their amazing talents and all their work in STEM in general.
Yeah, and then one other thing that we forgot to put on here, but it's actually happening tonight. There's an event tonight at 6 p.m. in the Arts and Sciences Auditorium. And it is a film screening of a film called Home from School, The Children of Carlisle. And it's a documentary about the Northern Arapaho tribal elders. And it is put on by the Keepers of the Fire Student Organization in partnership with the Native American Education Research and Cultural Center. And that is for National Native American Heritage Month. So that's going to be a really fun event happening tonight if you want to go learn a little bit more about the Northern Arapaho tribal elders.
Can I mention 2 other events that are coming up soon?
Totally, yeah.
So the Slice office, if you're not already familiar with them, they facilitate service, leadership, and community engagement opportunities for students. And so they put on these events called Service Saturdays, and it's just these opportunities on a Saturday where you can come in for usually 1.5 to 2, sometimes 3 hours, depending on what the event is, and just doing service with different nonprofits within the community. So they actually have 2 Service Saturdays coming up. The one that is this Saturday on November 6th is making dog toys. It's just taking old t-shirts and braiding them up into dog toys to donate to, I believe, the Laramie Animal Welfare Society, the Laws Society. So I'm pretty sure that's the one that's happening this Saturday. And then next Saturday, we will be putting together just toiletry and clothing kits and just basically emergency kits for survivors of domestic abuse. I believe that is through SAFE Project. I might be wrong on that, but I know that the project that we're doing next Saturday is just putting together bags and kits for people who are coming out of abusive situations, and they might need new clothes, new toiletries, just something to help them restart. And so those are 2 volunteer opportunities that are coming up. Again, those are both on Saturday. You can go to Slice's website on the UYO main page, and that's SLCE. So no I in the middle there. The I is implied. So you can look up the Service Saturday events there. You can also go to UW Connect or the Cork app to find those events as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Hannah, for including those. All right.
Great. Well, we will move on to open forum, which is the last section of our town hall. Some of these questions have already been answered, but we might just want to reiterate in case people are just joining us. So the first one, they're all from Instagram for our question stickers that we put up. The first one is from Elizabeth, and they say, how does the reorganization affect degrees?
I think that Hunter had already mentioned it earlier, but essentially you will be grandfathered in when this restructuring does happen. A year from now, when it does happen, you will be grandfathered in with whatever degree you have currently. So for instance, I am graduating in May, so this doesn't really apply to me, but if I were graduating later, I would still retain my degree from the College of Arts and Sciences. So that would just be retained even after the restructure happens. I would still have all of the same paperwork and documentation that I started with. So it actually would not affect you as long as you're not planning on changing your degree and then changing it back. Then you might run into some unexpected changes.
Cool.
We also have a question from Piper on Instagram that just was, what is the School of Computing?
We've covered that, haven't we?
Yep.
Perfect. Watch the first half.
Yeah, and these town halls, correct me if I'm wrong, but they are put on YouTube and also will be available on Facebook. So if you missed any of it, you can always go back and rewatch. Our next question is from Courtney, and she asks, what is your favorite part of being part of ASUW?
Mine is the people that I've met and some of the opportunities that I've had, but mostly the people. So many fantastic people that I'm friends with and hope to be friends with for a really long time, including Hannah, Hazel, and Casey, all good friends.
Stop.
I would definitely echo Hunter's comment and just say that I have loved the community that I've been able to build through ASUW. I really appreciate the professional development that you get. I had never worked in an office environment before serving as chief of staff last year. And so it was a great experience to, just experience something that was not customer service or retail, because that was what I knew before. And then working in an office was a completely different experience. And so it really helps you, not just develop as a student or a young professional, but also just who you are as a person. And so I just really appreciate the student development aspect that organically comes along with ASUW.
All right. And the last question we have from Instagram is from Landon, and it says, where do the fees go that I pay?
They go to a lot of things. So ASUW has $1 million budget, and with it, we do so much. So a brief snapshot, there's Aztec, which takes about 18% of our budget. They support student orgs and student events all throughout campus, especially in the union. By providing lighting and technical services, they help with video and audio and making sure that that all works. So that's a huge thing that we do. There's student legal services, which is about $80,000. They offer free legal advice to students. There's the ACW executive branch, which is about 9%. And we do a lot of work for students. We throw events, we advocate for them, lots of stuff. The legislative branch represents you, votes on resolutions. That's about, I think, 8% of the budget. There's also scholarships. About another 8% of the budget directly goes back to students in the form of scholarships funded by endowments. So that's actually not a fee-funded thing, but still something that we offer. We've supported the food share pantry, so we help students in need get food who might otherwise go hungry. There are special projects. We've constructed things all throughout campus. Half Acre was one of the things that ASUW helped contribute. We gave $12 million to that project. There's so many things. Safe Ride was created by ASUW with the help of student fee dollars. So all tons of stuff.
Yeah.
And just sorry. And just to emphasize that even the student fees that go to paying the salaries of, or pardon me, not salaries, the compensation for the executive team, they're able to put in work and accomplish a lot of projects for the student body. For instance, we were able to add a new director position last year that specifically looks at financial analysis and fiscal transparency, which is something that students are really, really concerned about nowadays. I know that I am. And so we're able to really adapt to what students are interested in and what they want to hear more of. And so we are able to operate as ASUW, we're able to operate within avenues such as the tuition fee and allocation committee that reviews the fee increases that are requested each year and make sure that we're really representing what students want with their fees and make sure that we are advocating for things that are financially responsible and that really benefit the student body, but don't take unnecessary money out of students' pockets. And so the student fees that ASCW collects, they can go directly to projects, or they're able to fund our directors who are able to carry out those larger projects and tasks.
Yeah, so to sum it all up, the student fees that students pay to ASUW are directly circling back to you, the students, which is really what we all try to do, is benefit you, the students. So yeah, cool. Well, that's everything that we had. But again, I did want to remind everybody that you can always ask questions for the town hall. Actually, are there any questions?
We didn't have a question on the Facebook Live. We did have Jennifer Nicole say, "Thank you, Senator Rhymes."
Ooh, all right. Well, thank you, Senator Rhymes. Yeah, and if you are a student, know that the ASUW office is always open. So if you did just want to come in and talk to us about any of the things that were brought up today, the School of Computing, the restructuring, we just are located in the sort of bottom level of the student union. So you can always just stop by. We're always welcome to have people, students come and say hi. And there's usually somebody in here that will be able to chat with you. So yeah.
Yeah. So the next town hall will be on November 18th from 9:30 to 10:30 as usual. And it will be right here on Zoom and Facebook Live. So you can join us then. Thank you everyone for joining and watching. And thank you everyone in the future who is rewatching or watching at the later date.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.